It was New Year's Eve, and 5 college friends, Emily, Jack, Sarah, Ethan, and Chloe, were driving through the snow-covered forests of Montana on their way to a ski lodge. The weather had taken a turn for the worse, with heavy snowfall blanketing the narrow roads and reducing visibility to a few feet ahead. The air outside was frigid, and the windshield wipers struggled to keep up with the relentless snow. Still, the group was in high spirits, eager to ring in the new year amidst roaring fireplaces and champagne toasts. The group's car, a sturdy SUV, crawled along the icy path. Jack, the driver, squinted at the road ahead. The GPS had lost signal hours ago, and the road signs were buried under layers of snow. A hand-painted wooden sign suddenly appeared on the side of the road. Detour. "Are you sure about this?" Chloe asked, her voice tinged with unease. "It looks sketchy." "What choice do we have?" Jack replied. "We'll take it slow. It's probably just a shortcut." The SUV turned onto the unmarked road, its tires crunching over fresh snow. The path was narrow, with frost-covered trees pressing in on either side. The falling snow sparkled faintly in the moonlight, but the deeper they went, the darker the forest became. As they ventured farther, the atmosphere grew oppressive, the forest's silence broken only by the faint sound of the wind whistling through the branches and the occasional creak of ice. The first sign of trouble came when they passed an old, rusted car abandoned on the roadside. Its windows were shattered, and the hood was smeared with something dark and frozen. Sarah tried to laugh it off. "Guess someone didn't handle the snow too well." But no one else joined in. "This doesn't feel right," Emily whispered, hugging her coat closer to her body. The heater inside the car seemed to be struggling against the biting cold outside. Suddenly, the SUV jolted as if they had hit something. Jack slammed on the brakes, and the group tumbled forward in their seats. They piled out of the car, their breaths visible in the icy air, to investigate. In the headlights' glare, they saw the mangled body of a deer sprawled across the road. Its legs were twisted unnaturally, and a deep gash ran along its belly. The wound was too clean, as if made by a blade. "Let's just keep moving," Ethan said, his voice shaky. "We'll call someone once we're out of here." They hurried back into the car and continued down the treacherous path. The snowfall intensified, and the road seemed endless. Emily kept glancing out the window, her unease growing. That's when she saw it, a figure standing among the trees. It was a woman in a tattered gown, her skin pale as the snow around her head tilted unnaturally to the side. Snowflakes clung to her hair, and her lifeless eyes seemed to follow the car. "Stop the car!" Emily shouted. Jack slammed on the brakes again, but the woman was gone. Chloe gasped. "Did you see her?" "She was right there." No one could explain it, but they all felt the same chill running down their spines. Jack pressed the gas pedal, desperate to leave the eerie woods behind. As they rounded a bend, the trees opened up to reveal an old wooden bridge spanning a frozen river. The SUV crawled onto the bridge, its tires slipping slightly on the icy planks. Halfway across, the car's engine sputtered and died. "No, no, no," Jack muttered, turning the key in vain. The headlights flickered, and the group was plunged into near darkness, the only light coming from the moon's reflection on the snow. "What's happening?" Chloe asked, panic creeping into her voice. Before anyone could answer, the bridge groaned under the weight of the car. A low, mechanical hum filled the air, vibrating through their chests. Ethan shone his flashlight out the window and froze. "Guys, look." Below the bridge, dozens of figures stood on the frozen river, their heads tilted just like the woman's. Their eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, and though they didn't move, their presence was suffocating. "We have to get out of here," Jack said, his voice trembling. He and Ethan stepped out of the car to check the engine, their boots crunching on the icy planks. The wind howled and snow swirled around them like ghostly veils. Then came the crack. The bridge's wooden planks splintered beneath their feet. The car lurched, sliding toward the edge. "Get back in!" Emily screamed, but it was too late. The bridge gave way, sending the SUV and its passengers plunging into the icy river below. Emily was the first to surface, gasping for air in the freezing water. She clawed her way to the riverbank, her body numb and shaking. She turned back, but the SUV and her friends were gone. The river flowed calmly, as if nothing had happened. Snow continued to fall gently, covering all traces of the incident. Desperate and disoriented, Emily stumbled through the snow-covered forest. The falling snow muffled her sobs, and the biting cold seeped into her bones. After what felt like hours, she saw a faint light ahead. It was a cabin, its windows glowing warmly against the stark winter landscape. She staggered to the door and knocked weakly. When no one answered, she pushed it open. Inside, the air was warm, the smell of wood smoke and cooked food filling her senses. A table stood in the center of the room, set for 5. On the walls hung photographs of her and her friends. Her heart sank as she realized the ink on the photos was shifting, darkening as though burning from within. Suddenly, the low hum returned, louder now. Emily turned, her breath hitching. The woman in the tattered gown stood in the doorway, her eyes glowing faintly. Snowflakes swirled around her feet, though none seemed to touch her. "You shouldn't have come here," she said, her voice echoing unnaturally. Before Emily could scream, the door slammed shut, and the light from the windows flickered out, leaving her alone in the dark.